welcome to the Engineering Manager Podcast. I'm your host, Steven Tedjamulia. Today we have a very special guest, Jeremy Ravenel, the CEO of Naas.ai. Jeremy has an intriguing journey in the world of finance, treasury, to leading data science innovation. Today he's going to share with us some insights on data modeling and an impact on business and AI. Welcome, Jeremy, to the Engineering Manager Podcast.
Thanks, Steven. It's good to be here. How are you?
Very good. I know I've been on another podcast with you, so this one here, very excited. We dive into the engineering side of things.
Cool.
Can you start by sharing a little bit about your journey from your early finance and treasury career to now becoming, going into data science and then leading the foundation of Naas.ai?
Yeah, thank you. I can start with that. It's a funny story. I don't know if I'm leading something in data science right now, but I'm definitely into something that I want to solve for a long time now. So I'm glad that I have the opportunity to do it because it's been quite a pain. And for the story, basically, I mean, if we want to do it quick, I come from a finance background, but before I was the kind of a child that was questioning everything all the time, wanted to connect everything with everything, wanted to discover everything related to the world. I love music, art, science. And when I started my journey outside of my, I would say comfort zone, I went to India. I came back. I made a loan to the bank in 2009, kind of forced by my father to go to business school. And I deep dive in finance at that time. This was the moment where I was like deep diving into finance because I had to do this loan to get my loan paid out. And I learned everything about cash and about the financial markets, about the corporate world by necessity, kind of. Diving into it, forced into it. So that was my first connection with the world of finance. Before, I was obviously aware of everything around economy and I was even studying that at school. But when you start diving into the domain of finance, corporate finance, especially in treasury, you're surrounded by data. Like treasury management is one of the most interconnected domain in the company that has to do with dealing with data. You deal with data from the bank, you deal with data from the accounting software, you deal with data that comes from different prediction for different departments, from sales, from HR, from taxes. You need to do like predicting the future cash flow. So it's a very, very like interconnected kind of domain that led me to like work on very, very specific aspect of analytics. When I started as a young data professional, I often refer to this period as being a data mercenary, where I built basically reports for C-level. You are the C-level, Steven. You tell me whatever you want, I'll get it. I know what system, how to extract it, how to automate the tables, how to make sure the graphs come out nicely. So I was doing that for a long period of time. And the stack of tools that I was using was not really fun. Excel, VBA, PowerPoint, not so fun. So in 2006, I started looking at basically how to automate that. And I went into the world of Python, notebooks, and all the amazing libraries and open source libraries out there at that time that were emerging as kind of enhanced Excel functions. Very powerful Excel functions. So This is how I saw the engineering side of data science at that time. But so moving a bit further down, I started my consulting business to bridge that gap between, like finance department that want to have automated reports and the dealing with IT topics, integration mostly.
Yeah.
And I ended up building that consulting business for a while with my brother and my actual CTO, Maxime, also joined us later on. But we built that sort of pipelines, Python pipelines. The problem was that notebooks were written from us or as of logic to transform source data into business data. But then you had to deploy into Python file, into a server, into like some kind of big infrastructure stuff. And so this was not very useful for us, to be honest. It was like, why am I doing this? Like, it's very, I come from the business needs and I need to get that done as fast as possible. When you're telling me that it needs to take 3 weeks to deploy and automate this thing, it's not working for me, this way of working. So we started thinking about how you automate those notebooks. And in a very dynamic way, where you own your data, you are the analyst, and you distribute it as like email, automated email with graph, hello, the Excel report attached. Pretty much like what I was doing as an analyst, right? I was going to send you anyway next morning an email with the graph and the file. So we started automating that through this system we call Naas, Notebooks as a Service. And we basically used the Jupyter Lab ecosystem and added an orchestrator into it. An orchestrator that will take notebooks, execute it at a certain period, or expose the result of the notebook as a link, as a graph. Different stuff that could help you like automate without going to heavy engineering. And that's what Naas is essentially doing with this 6 low-code formula that we've built. So this is how like we came to you were asking me about how to move from finance to engineering side of things. This is how I got there, like trying to fix the problem of a guy that wants to automate reports and for decision making in corporates and automation of business workflow. This is where I come from, essentially.
And then within this goal that you have, how hard is it to be able to, create the mapping of all the data fields across the different departments? I know I've been in that role many times. That's a pretty big task. And so how are you starting? How do you it must
mapping
be overwhelming
tables
to know where to
all
start.
the way. Yeah, mapping tables all the way. You need to build your own master data management thing, your own dictionary. So I was pretty aware about that, like head on, right before you start in treasury, when you have bank A that doesn't name bank like bank A number 2, and those are the same banks, you have like data integrity. So you have to put in place some techniques to actually aggregate the data from different sources. It's not even departments, it's generalizing it to any kind of sources. You want to combine the columns and say like this column, this concept is the same as this concept. So we cannot do one column and we can start analyzing it. That's very, very basic, but it's a lot of semantic and understanding of the business problem and making sure that the data is not like looking bad. And you need to be pretty sharp on like the data itself, not the process of creating the data, which is sometimes like a bit like what we focus too much on, and then we don't have any more time to actually like look at the data.
Yeah. And how does your company now, because for the engineering manager in the call, as you explained it so well, how does Naas.ai help them do this, but combine the data better so that they could do the analysis and send out the reports? How does it do it better than what they have available today?
Well, what we try to do, Steve, is something that we call ABI, artificial business intelligence. We try to map, and I didn't talk about that part of the story, but basically on top of the orchestrator that we have built V1, we have a V2 that is coming, which has a search for a knowledge-based search and an AI chat interface, very similar to ChatGPT. So what we try to do is we try to bring the power of AI and language model to this paradigm of reports for executives and decision making and workflow automation. That's what we are working on. And we have this project we call ABI, Artificial Business Intelligence, and we have like different engines that combines different workflows. Like, for instance, we talked about social selling. How do you do content on social media, extract the people who like or comment, score them, like enrich their information and send them like personalized message, because you can only deal so much with like likes. When you have 100 like over time, how do you deal with that? Like big content creators, they want to engage with their audience in a much more meaningful way, but they can't right now. And what we help those content creators to do is like filter down to the essential, like the most probable like business opportunities. So that's a good, like a lot of work that has to be done in terms of data engineering, data cleaning, enrichment. Like there is the full stack of like data steps needs to be taken into consideration to do that.
Okay, so if I understand clearly, then with Naas.ai, engineering managers who have different desperate data sources, they want to bring them together so that they can do AI, right? They can run large language models on it. You have some pre-built data
Engines,
taxonomies or
basically.
engines. Yeah,
Yeah.
explain that to us a little bit. So that which ones you already have pre-built? How can you help them put them together? What's that process look like, and how are you going to make their lives easier?
Yeah. So right now it's pretty straightforward. So we had made a few months of research to get to this like very like sure thing that we know that if we do this way, it's going to work and give business results down the line. So right now we are very much focused on social selling motion, on the revenue operation part of things, because it's where people want to have the most result. And it's also external data that you don't need to already tie it to your internal data. You can already use what is available to actually generate value, and then you will do it internally. So we use mostly external data to monitor different stuff, create signals, and when the signals like is triggered, you are going to get like your other tools like a CRM populated with enriched data ready to use to generate like meetings, business opportunities. This is done right now, but it's going very fast. So like next week we can have another engine, and the other week we can have another engine. It's kind of moving pretty fast because the capability that we have built enable us to go fast into like iterating a lot and figuring out the right stuff to keep building this ABI system. So we want to work on the operation engines that will take your recordings and prioritize tasks, give you tasks, but very personalized tasks, not the random like meeting recording that you have already that gives you the summary by email, like something that you can actually craft and be confident about the format that you have as output. You want always 10 tasks, organized a certain way, fed into your GitHub or fed into your CRM. You can do that with Naas. And that's what we want to do. It's like use a generic approach to data for content, for marketing contacts, for sales sequences, for ops, it's task. We have like underlying abstraction tables that will effectively enable you to connect it to different tools. And that's the main like value basically of the work that I've been putting together, I think, is that we thought about the data model that is needed to feed the language model nicely.
So I think from as I get this better here. So for engineering managers, Jeremy, let me know if I explain it right. You've prepackaged some data model, some data framework. So social media. So all the comments, likes that happen to your content, to your posts on social media, as well
Yes.
as anybody who comments or names, also be
So
able to
context
extract those
associated to it.
contact information. Contact information. Then
Mm-hmm.
you've also packaged the CRM fields from a typical CRM, and then content fields from content you may post.
Yeah.
And you've taken those three data sets, right, from your CMS, from your social media, from CRM. You've taken those fields, you brought them together, scripts to be able to capture the data, create a data repository with those, which is your ABI, right? I think, and then
It's the
there
ABI
you
is the code that is running on top of your data. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
on top of your data, which
Mhm.
introduces the large language models to make suggestions of what people sales reps should outreach based on interaction with your content, and then
Yeah,
also what reports get sent to the executives, and that
exactly.
intelligence is created, and that's what
So
NAS does.
you basically have a report every week, every day, or every week that you program that is watching your content, telling you how your content goes. You have another one that looks how much contacts you're interacting with and what are their score based on the quality of the interaction. And you have another one which is the sales report that tells you, look, this guy from this company is really interesting. You should address him and talk about those points.
Sounds good. So if an engineering manager says, "Hey, Jeremy, love what you've done on social, but I have another use case for you where I have data, I want to use LLMs. Is that
Good
something you could
question.
help me with?" Right? Tell
Yeah,
me
good
what that
question.
process is for you to incorporate, a whole different set, right? That may not be sales, social selling
Yeah,
related, but what they
exactly.
want to do.
Are you ready? Because there is a
I'm
bit of
ready.
a
We're
like
ready.
thinking around it, right?
Yeah.
So the thing is, you need to abstract concepts. So content is a paradigm. It's always having a title and a body, for example. It's like having a title and a body. So you can generalize this. For marketing, the objective of marketing is quality of the contact. So you have a contact table. So you see, it's very generic. Post content is very generic. It can be a document, it can be a Word document, it can be a podcast, it can be anything. Like you can so you have this abstraction layer that enables you to abstract the concept of a content, of the concept of a contact, of a sales sequence, because for sales it's about sequence of actions until the closing. For operation, it's about a task. What is a task and how efficient that task is? How do you prioritize it? For the finance, it's a transaction. And for open source data intelligence, like collecting information about the weather, about the markets, about whatever's going on, it's a resource which has a certain type of field. So you see, like you just have 5 or 6 big abstractions, but you can fit it into anything. Like you want to have B2B sales enablement, you use the open data engine to collect information about your competition, scrap website, understand their offer, and then you bring it to the CRM. It can adapt, but the mechanism is still the same. The the basic infrastructure is still the same. What you need to change is the little functions that will adapt to your use case. And I think that's the key here. Is like we have abstracted the thing as much as we can so that you can focus on the functions, the business functions that are needed to like tweak the model and just feed basically columns that are pre-defined. If you want to create extra columns and you want to customize and you want to have your own like data model on top of this one, it's possible. But this one will remain. You can just send blank columns or not use them, but basically you can just wrap your own overlay if you want on top of it if you need more columns. But the core principles, the core is the same, and that's why this way we ensure the storage and the querying and everything that will be connected to the language model, so we can always know a defined concept, defined list of concepts that we can abstract for the language model. That's the whole idea behind what we do. It's like to really constrain the LLM to a certain like set of objects. So they don't tell you like crazy numbers that doesn't make sense or whatever. That's what you don't want. You want to talk to someone that you would talk to an analyst because now you want to use language model to do your business, but you don't want it to be not trustworthy. Trust is a big thing. It's what I am really passionate about, like how trustworthy we can go with that. And yeah, I hope that it helps answering your question.
That did. Would it be okay if we jumped into a little demo? Like I know you have a little demo so people can see
Yeah,
it. We
yeah, we
don't.
can.
Now we've whet people's appetite, and they're like, "Okay, Jeremy, show me
Yeah,
a
yeah,
little bit
sure.
more. That'd be great."
So
Uh,
let me just
yeah.
go with a few stuff that might be interesting for you to look at.
And as you provide your demo, great to talk about the value add of people choosing to use NAS and your services versus just trying to do it by themselves or with
I
some
mean,
other
right
provider.
now it's just a collaborative building is much more efficient. Like you want to have as much heads that have been thinking about solving that problems as possible near you. It's like we need
Okay.
groups of people to think about that stuff. So like the advantage is the capacity for you as and to be close to a team that think about it very deeply and care about that very deeply. So you won't have to like, even OpenAI is providing those services now. They do enterprise services with their best guy that comes and help you how to integrate OpenAI in your business. Like we obviously have this ability as well, but to be more like custom and but that's where it's interesting. I mean, I like this aspect of the work as well because you cannot build a generic kind of system or a semi-generic kind of system without having hands-on on the project and on understanding the business problem. So
So I think for those engineering managers that have data integration issues and are looking to bring them together and include AI, that's a great. You're
I
offering your
mean,
assistance and your help,
it's an
right?
alternative. Yeah.
Yeah, collaborative.
Yeah.
It improves your product. It makes it better. It gives it more data models, and we'll for sure offer that to them. Um,
So can you see my screen here?
yes, Nas.
So you see this NAS Google-like kind of page. This is where you access. Sorry, this is where you access your knowledge base. Our knowledge base at NAS is our templates. So we have a big template catalog of different stuff you can do. So, for example, you have a specific template that will add um, Google Google Sheet information into Notion. That's one integration, and there's you can send deals to HubSpot. You can basically that's functions, API calls that are a bit complicated to get. This is like the notebook version of those things explained in a very simple way so you can just process with getting what you want very quickly. Those are the components of what we built inside the chats, which are sales assistant, growth assistant. I shared that to you. We are into a kind of a chat GPT environment here. This is where you're going to consume the data and work with it as a data consumer, and you will receive an update, a report. You will receive an email also that notifies you that new data is available, and there you can start, conversing and understanding the different trends. So, for example, those are all fake data. Basically, it's my demo account, but you will access the different information of the leads, of the content that you've published. In this particular one, you will see how your content has evolved over time and who is consistently engaging with your content, for example. Right here, we see that in week 2, 2024, big engagement on this. There might be a post that works better than the rest, and you lose that interest in last week and this week. So maybe you need to redo a content on that and keep building momentum on this topic that you have started getting interest from. On the content assistant part, you have this list of content that you have created. So you can even say, because it will know your content style, so you can say, write a new post based on the best performing one since the past 2 weeks. For the past 2 weeks, over the past week. And it will start answering to you. Certainly, drawing inspiration from the best performing post is about AI realism. So this is something that is trained basically on kind of my content. So you have an example of this, like AI is a powerful tool, but its true potential is unlocked only when we lay solid foundations. That's kind of the thing that I was already saying on social media, but it's recycling it and using my style to kind of already have something that is more powerful than the custom instructions that you may have in ChatGPT, for example. Plus, you have access to your data, so you can actually leverage that in a way that is much more closer to your business, right? You want to have this like close to you. And if you want to know what's going on under the hood, I can talk about it. But if you have question on that one, maybe we can stop a bit.
No, keep going. And
Cool.
yeah.
So the rest of the idea is like you can access those different assistants here, and for the engineering people that are like interested into like what's going on behind the hood, well, we are using Python and this notebook framework that we've built, Python framework basically, where the engines are open, like the whole repository is open source. You have the core functions and you have the steps that I shared with you earlier. You know, the different steps, Google, LinkedIn, those are the different templates that are available for you to customize this product. As a, you know, data producer, data science guy that is working behind the hood, for this product to be built, you can build your pipeline in this way and basically orchestrate it in our backend, um, so that you can run that on a daily basis, on a weekly basis on your content, and yeah, have this benefit of having this benefit of having both uh, engineers working customizing the core product and consumers at the end. You increase also the feedback loop because from this interface you can get feedbacks more easily, and improve the quality of what you build. You don't build like too much dashboard. You just build one graph. You let people ask questions, and then you figure out what you need to do next. That's the main idea. Lean, a very lean approach to building decision making tools.
And I know we're coming close to the end here, but is there any lasting words you want to you want to share with the audience? Anything else that you want to say about your demo product? You know, how do they reach you? How do they tap into what all the thinking that you're doing around this area?
I mean, right now I'm sharing on LinkedIn every day almost what we do, and how we progress. So here is the place, and then you know, we need to get together. We need a federation of companies that embrace this like new way of doing. So if you feel that it's the right thing, you know, just come and let's talk. As I said, one of the main benefits is like we are actually human beings, not faceless logos. So you can come chat with us, and we can work this out. Basically, that's the way. And if you want to just try the platform, you can still go for the free plan. It enables you to access different AI language model for free, and then you have a small sponsor plan that you can take $10 that enables you an access to different language model already aggregated into the same interface. And that's, you know, the way people can engage at a very low cost. But then when it comes about business and integration of like different tools and extra, that's another story that we are very happy to serve, and that's where we come from and what we want to do basically. But having this offering for anyone is also some kind of way to like get people interested and check out. And because this demo that I shared with you, you can just do the demo yourself. You can sign up, have the free account, and just do it again.
That's great. And thank you, Jeremy, for your time. I hope the engineering manager community, please post there, reach out. I hope the engineering managers reach out to you, get connected there. For everyone, this was very enlightening. We heard from Jeremy today, saw View at Naas, saw his mission of being to help all of you take your various data sources, bring it together, work on lean concepts with AI to get better acceleration on sales, business operations. So thank you, Jeremy. Thanks to
Thank
everyone
you.
for listening, tuning in to the Engineering Manager podcast. Don't forget to subscribe for more insightful conversations, and have a great day.
See you. Thank you.